The Project Gutenberg ebook of Keep Happy. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. Title: Keep Happy. Author: Eustace. Miles. Release date: January 20, 2024. Ebook number 72765. Language: English. Original publication: New York, Frederick A. Stokes Company, 1920. Credits: Carla Faust, Charlene Taylor, and the online distributed proofreading team at https://www.pgdp.net. This file was produced from images generously made available by the Internet Archive/American Libraries. Start of the Project Gutenberg ebook. Keep Happy. Keep Happy. Some other books by Eustace Miles, M.A. Economy of Energy, and How to Secure It. How to prepare essays, articles, lectures, speeches, etc. The Power of Concentration, and How to Acquire It. Prevention and Cure. Life After Life. How to Remember, Without and With Memory Systems. The Uric Acid Fetish. With C.H. Collings. Quickness. The EM System of Physical Culture with 2 charts of exercises. Health and Counsel Bureau. Curative exercises. Let's play the game. A week's proteid diet. Quick and easy recipes. First recipes. How to begin a change of diet. Keep Happy by Eustace Miles, M.A. New York, Frederick A. Stokes Company Publishers. Copyright, 1920. By Frederick A. Stokes Company. Forward: on my 50th birthday, Sunday, September 22, 1918, after a good day's work, I start, in the afternoon, to spend a few hours before our evening meal in writing down some ideas that may help others, besides myself, who need them as much as anyone, since I am beginning my second half-century, to indulge less in that habit of fear, worry, resentment, and hurry, which must be regarded as a form of suicide, slow indeed, but working in a vicious circle and with self-increasing force, and poisoning and paralysing others besides the respectable offenders themselves. The chief remedy is Keep Happy. We have had our attention so fixed on prohibitions, the thou shalt not commandments, that we have, as a nation, ignored the positive commandments of the Old and New Testaments, among which a very frequently repeated one was rejoice or keep happy. Others, besides the Master, told us not to worry, not to be afraid, not to be angry, not to be bitter, but to be glad and happy. The Orthodox should remember that happiness is a virtue, however unusual, and non-happiness a sin, however common and respectable. I give one quotation alone, though the usual translation does not convey the real force of the Greek words of Philippians 4:7. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say, rejoice. The Lord is at hand. Be careful, anxious, for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. C.D. Larson's book, Just Be Glad, was on my table, and gave me the thought of writing on this subject. Larson offers capital ideas on the mental side, but he does not tell people how to be glad, and, especially, he leaves out all the physical helps. In this little birthday offering, I shall include a few physical as well as mental helps, a few out of many, since space is limited, so that readers may be able to keep happy easily. The art is not new, but like the habit of deep, full, rhythmical breathing is always needed. There are millions who have scarcely begun to recognize, at least to the extent of acting upon the facts, that, while their happiness itself depends largely upon their digestion, their elimination of waste matter, their circulation, etc., these influences themselves depend largely on 1. The choice of foods and drinks, the way of eating and drinking, the breathing and other exercises, and so forth and on. 2. The maintenance of happiness itself, or at least the avoidance of worry and resentment, etc., and the expression of happiness, until happiness actually is attracted and comes into a prepared nest. Keep happy. Keep happy. Why keep happy? A contrast. First, work out the contrast. Before reading further, think what happens when one keeps the opposite of happy, whatever be the actual stage between the extreme homicidal or suicidal violence or suicidal melancholia on the one hand, and, on the other hand, ordinary fear, worry, resentment, depression, grumpiness, and so on. Those who wish to study the effects of these states of mind more fully, can consult Elmer Gates' The Mind and the Brain, or William S. Sadler's Physiology of Faith and Fear, both quoted in my book. Professor Elmer Gates, of the Smithsonian Institute, Washington, says my experiments show that irascible, malevolent, and depressing emotions generate in the system injurious compounds, some of which are extremely poisonous, also that agreeable, happy emotions generate chemical compounds of nutritious value, which stimulate the cells to manufacture energy. If an evil emotion is dominant, then during that period the respiration contains volatile poisons, which are expelled through the breath and are characteristic of these emotions. Wearisome, unpleasant memories weaken health, and do not generate thought energy. Cure is accomplished in expelling these by another crop of wholly pleasant memories, which put the necessary structures of the mind in systematic order and teach the patient how to use the mental faculties. Therefore, keep happy. On page 40 of Economy of Energy will be found a summary of some results of states of mind. They affect the heart, and the circulation, both its rate, and its distribution of blood. Unfavorable states of mind tend to anemia or dyspnea, or to congestion, etc. The actual chemical condition of the blood and the lymph, the lungs, and the rhythm and the fullness of the breathing, and the amount of oxygen inhaled, and of carbonic acid gas, etc., exhaled. The digestive and assimilative organs and functions. The curative energies of the body, which include the excretory organs, the bowels, kidneys, skin, etc., thus fear may act as a diuretic. The muscular system in general, as when it is paralyzed by fear, for instance, when one feels all of a tremble. The appearance, the attitude, the position of the organs, the expression of the face, etc., the voice, its tone and timbre, and the words used or repressed. The nervous system, partly influenced indirectly by the altered breathing, and by the blood, and by the effects of the state of mind upon the solar plexus. The energy and endurance. The poise, and ease of self-mastery, self-recovery, and self-direction. The brain, the clearness of thought, etc., the influence of the person on others, especially in the immediate neighborhood. The direction and bias of the mind in the future, states of mind tending to become habitual apart from the active will. Therefore, keep happy. Anxiety, which includes fear, saps more life in a day than work does in a week. Anxiety is unnecessary, unproductive, destructive work. It is hard work. It is sinful work. We must remember how prevalent are the states of mind in which fear is one of the factors. For fear is a factor in worry, and usually even in anger, and in depression. These words from M.J.M. Hickson's Healer are worth reading. We have very seldom reflected upon the fact that fear runs like a baleful thread through the whole web of our life from beginning to end. We are born into the atmosphere of fear and dread, and the mother who bore us had lived in the same atmosphere for weeks and months before we were born. We are surrounded in infancy and childhood by clouds of fear and apprehension on the part of our parents, nurses, and friends. As we advance in life, we become instinctively, or by experience, afraid of almost everything. We are afraid of our parents, afraid of our teachers, afraid of our playmates, afraid of ghosts, afraid of rules and regulations and punishments, afraid of the doctor, the dentist, the surgeon. Our adult life is a state of chronic anxiety, which is fear in a milder form. We are afraid of failure in business, afraid of disappointments and mistakes, afraid of enemies, open or concealed, afraid of poverty, afraid of public opinion, afraid of accidents, of sickness, of death, and unhappiness after death. Man is like a haunted animal, from the cradle to the grave, the victim of real or imaginary fears, not only his own, but those reflected upon him from the superstitions, self-deceptions, sensory illusions, false beliefs, and concrete errors of the whole human race, past and present. Fear not only affects the mind and the nervous and muscular tissues, but the molecular chemical transformations of the organic network, even to the skin, the hair, and the teeth. This might be expected of a passion that disturbs the whole mind, which is represented or externalized in the whole body. How does fear operate upon the body to produce sickness? By paralyzing the nerve centers, especially those of the vasomotor nerves, thus producing not only muscular relaxation, but capillary congestions of all kinds. This condition of the system invites attack, and there is no resilience or power of resistance. The gates of the citadel have been opened from within, and the enemy may enter at any point. Therefore keep happy. First because, once again, non-happiness is a mistake. It acts, as I said just now, in a vicious circle, increasing itself. It poisons the blood, and this very poisoning tends to produce more non-happiness. It radiates itself, and is infectious. It inclines to become a fixed and subconscious habit. It sinks down into the subconscious self, and afterwards expresses itself in various ways which, as psychoanalysts show, are not usually associated with their true mental cause. It is toxic, and produces non-health and non-efficiency, by wasting power and force, by bringing fatigue, by encouraging bad sleep, by injuring the whole body, by cramping the energies, by distracting the body and mind, and thus hindering concentration, by impeding the circulation, and the elimination of waste matters, and by upsetting the rhythm and the deepness and thoroughness of the breathing, and all the vibrations of the physical system. Besides, it is ugly. It militates against financial success, and against social success for who wants a non-happy acquaintance, and against intellectual success. Consider this. Non-happiness is liable to make one's work poor and inferior, difficult, tiring, and wanting in foresight and in perspective. It does not help. As Ian McLaren said, what does your anxiety do? It does not empty tomorrow, brother, of its sorrow, but it empties today of its strength. It does not make you escape the evil, it makes you unfit to cope with it if it comes. Therefore, keep happy. On the moral and ethical side, non-happiness, especially in the form of worry, is cowardly, unbalanced, against moral consistency and persistency, against self-control and self-mastery, and very unkind to others. Therefore, keep happy. Non-happiness shortens life, and brings premature, incompetent, burdensome old age. It is selfish, in the worst sense of the word, for there is a selfishness that is altruistic. It harms posterity, as among other proofs we see from the influence of a mother upon her babe before as well as after birth. It makes us less independent and less free. Therefore, keep happy. How happiness helps happiness, by the expulsive power of a positive state of mind, drives out or neutralizes or cancels non-happiness, instead of the mind being left open to the 7 other devils, as it may be when we merely try not to be non-happy. The happy heart is too full for non-happiness, as the light room is too light for darkness. As Mr. A. Knight says, happiness fills the heart with its 3 companions, health, harmony, and helpfulness. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness works in the opposite of the vicious circle. It makes for greater happiness. It is self-increasing. Among other reasons, it purifies and invigorates the blood, and this in itself inclines the mind towards further and greater happiness. It creates the habit of happiness, the bias towards happiness. It stores the memory with happiness, for future use. Prospectively, happiness must be valued as a great asset. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness does not merely aid in removing mental and physical non-health, in such forms as depression and fear, nerves and their troubles, fatigue, sleeplessness or bad sleep, bad circulation, congestion, and so on. It actually produces positive health, well-being, and fitness, as well as increased self-healing and preventive power. Therefore, keep happy. Think of the letter E alone. Happiness tends to health, in its various aspects: enjoyment of life and of all that life brings us, energy for health gives a tonic without reaction, economy for, when we are happy, we need neither drugs nor stimulants nor narcotics nor holidays, happiness saves vast stores of precious power, both physical and mental, endurance, what long hours we can work when we are happy, ease, efficiency. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness brings the right vibrations throughout the mind and body, partly through the solar plexus and the sympathetic nervous system. Only lately have we begun to realize the importance of the rate and character of vibrations. Let the same elements vibrate differently, and we have ice or water or steam. We know the full and elastic firmness and resilience of faith, the shrunken and paralyzed trembling of fear. It is largely a difference of vibrations. Happiness has the most desirable vibrations. Happiness means that we inhale more life-giving and cleansing oxygen, and exhale more carbonic acid and other waste matter. Happiness means that we have better sleep, and can do with less sleep. Happiness means improved circulation. It keeps the body warm in winter and cool in summer. It relieves the physical heart. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness gives better looks. It makes the eyes brighter, the complexion clearer, the step more vigorous, the carriage more upright. And, generally, happiness makes people more attractive. It has a marked social value. Therefore, keep happy. Financially, happiness pays. The happy salesman or saleswoman is more persuasive. The happy person gets and keeps more friends, who will like to help him, if only because his happiness helps them. James Coates says, "Smile at your business, and it will smile back. Follow the light of that smile." Therefore, keep happy. Intellectually, happiness helps us to see with surer clearness and foresight. Happiness helps us to solve our problems rightly. Happiness gives us more understanding and more intuition. Happiness makes us more receptive to the best ideas. Happiness puts us in better perspective. Happiness, once again, increases our mental energy, endurance, ease, and effectiveness. These quotations from C.D. Larson are excellent. He says, "Just be glad, and you always will be glad. You will have better reasons to be glad. You will have more and more things to make you glad. When you are tempted to feel discouraged or disappointed, be glad instead. Just be glad, and your fate will change. Know that you can be glad, say that you will, and stand uncompromisingly upon your resolve. When things are not to your liking, be glad nevertheless, for the glad heart can cause all things to be as we wish them to be. When things do not give you pleasure, proceed instead to create pleasure in your own heart and soul. It is the law that all good things will sooner or later come and be where the greatest happiness is to be found. Therefore, be happiness in yourself, regardless of times, seasons, or circumstances. It is the man who blends rejoicing with his work who does the best work. It is profitable in every way to learn to be glad. The happier you are over what has come to you, the more and the more will come to you in the future. The glad heart and the cheerful soul always make things better. Give gladness to your mind, and you give clearness to your mind, and a clear mind can see how to evolve better plans. In the moral and ethical and spiritual, as in the intellectual and financial and social spheres, happiness is a precious and integral factor in success and progress. We might almost say that happiness includes the much praised virtues of courage, persistence, and poise, and goes far towards self-control and self-mastery. Therefore, keep happy. It is kind to others to keep happy. Happiness tends to forgiveness, not of the usual perfunctory and I forgive but I can't forget type, goodwill and pleasant warmth as of the sunshine. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness tends to the right sort of youthfulness, the youthfulness in which we have all the merits of little children, together with the wisdom of elders. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness makes our life longer, not like the life of an aged person who may be a burden upon the earth, living in name only, and almost as a vampire lives, but a life of increasingly useful length. Therefore, keep happy. For happiness is non-selfish. But non-selfishness, after all, is a negative. Happiness does indeed include negative merits, but it is also positive and radiating and infectious. When we ask what we can do for others, one answer is, we can keep happy. Here, again, Larson's words are to the point: he who is always glad is always adding to the welfare of every member of the race. The great soul is always in search of ways and means for adding to the welfare of others. But no way is better, greater, or more far-reaching than this. To be glad at all times is to be of greater service to mankind than any other thing we can do. Consider how all things change when the glad soul arrives, and how all work becomes lighter when the spirit of joy is abroad. And every man has the power to dispense the spirit of joy wherever he may work or live. Work in the spirit of joy, and your work will be the product of joy, a rare product, the best of its kind. Therefore, keep happy. To help all those with whom you live, and many beyond this narrow circle, keep happy. To help your children and posterity, whether you already are or are going to be a father or mother, keep happy. The relation of a parent, or of anyone who has charge of children, to children, illustrates well how our states of mind react upon ourselves. Be happy with children, and you make them happier, healthier, pleasanter to be with, easier to train. When they are in this favorable condition, you yourself, in turn, have more happiness and health, partly because your work is more delightful and more successful. And so your happiness is self-increasing as well as self-radiating. C.D. Larson, from whose book I have already quoted, says, in another book, make it a point to be happy, just as you make it a point to be clean, to be presentable, to be properly dressed, to work well, to be efficient. Make the attainment of continuous happiness and greater happiness a permanent part of your strongest ambition. Real happiness is a power within oneself, not dependent on circumstances, at least not dependent when it has become a habit. He who has happiness is like a magic plant that bears beautiful and shade-giving and health-giving leaves, beautiful and sweet-smelling flowers, beautiful and refreshing and cleansing fruit, wherever it is, and without the aid of special soil, air, light, warmth, and rain. For it has, as it were, its own subtle, ethereal, and eternal soil and air and light and warmth and rain within itself. Therefore, keep happy. The gospel of happiness. The word gospel once meant good news, but now has lost much of its gladdening vitality. Is, when we examine deeply and widely, prospectively, sound philosophy and sound religion. To the devout Hindu, God is not only wisdom, love, might, but also bliss. Sat Chit Ananda meant lasting reality, true knowledge, and blissful happiness. A perfect God, and this applies whether we believe in a personal being or not, for an impersonal being cannot easily be imagined as sad, cannot surely be sad, and we are told to become perfect as God is perfect. We are often recommended to fill the mind with healthy, invigorating, purifying thoughts. This, again, is a New Testament commandment. The words in the ordinary rendering of Philippians 4:8 do not bring out the vitality and force and verve of the Greek words, but they give the general idea: whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think of these things. It is a commandment to attend to fill the mind by repetition with eternally true ideas, ideas that command respect, ideas that are right, ideas that are clean and pure, ideas that are welcome and sweet, ideas that have words of good omen, ideas of manliness and womanliness, ideas of praise and appreciation. Therefore, think of happiness, keep happy. In keeping happy, we obey the frequently reiterated commandment to rejoice, and, without any special attention to the negative and prohibitive commandments not to worry, and not to be angry, and not to be unkind, and not to criticize unkindly, and so forth, we, ipso facto, obey these commandments as well, just as the person who is encouraged and inspired does not need to be comforted in so-called misfortune. Therefore, keep happy. Happiness helps you. It is profitable in every way to learn to be glad. Happiness helps yourself and others, and hurts none. No selfish heart can really be glad. Happiness is the right thing to keep. Happiness is our duty, and is good form. Happiness increases itself. The more things you are glad for, the more things you will have to be glad for. Gladness is a magnet. Because you were glad, even when there was nothing to make you glad, you proved that you deserved everything that has the power to make you glad. And that which we truly deserve must come to remain as our own. Possess gladness, and you will soon possess those things that produce gladness. But how? How to keep happy? It is so easy to say to others, or to ourselves, keep happy. But how keep happy? Here are a few out of many helps. People will ask, what about trying circumstances? How can we keep happy under, or in them, whether they be past or present or future? I was much struck by a phrase in a little book I read some time ago. It described how someone, who was going to an unpleasant interview, was told, go to the man, taking God with you. A good piece of general advice is to welcome the circumstances as one would welcome either a strong opponent or a severe handicap at a game, namely, as a privilege and an occasion for bringing out, as a great player said, one's best game. I think a handicap is an excellent description. For what true sportsman resents a handicap? Turn the mind to blessings, or think of your own blessings, not only in the past, but also in the present. Think of all the conveniences of civilization. Then, if you like, contrast the hardships of primitive times with no books, no traveling facilities, no sanitation. Think of blessings, and keep happy. Think of the blessings of others. Anything is better than giving attention to supposed injuries and hardships, and to sorrows and resenting or bemoaning them. Or to reasoning when things seem amiss, then is the time to give all your thoughts the upward direction. Keep happy. Hold on to happiness, not like grim death but like irrepressible life. Remember that everything serves some useful purpose. If you refuse to keep happy, at least determine to find out the useful purpose. But, as soon as you can, come back to yourself, and keep happy. Help others. This is the old and ever new way. As Maeterlinck says, before we can bring happiness to others, we must first be happy ourselves. Nor will happiness abide within us unless we confer it on others. If there be a smile upon our lips, those around us will soon smile too, and our happiness will become the truer and deeper as we see that these others are happy. Therefore, keep happy by helping others. We can help others by our thoughts, by wishing them to be well and happy and successful, or by imagining them to be well and happy and successful. We can help them by all our expressions, our words, our looks, our acts, and by our very abstinence from non-happiness. Abstain from thoughts against others and against self, merely to send out no thoughts and to harbor no thoughts against other persons or things, or against ourselves, is a step in the right direction. I once saw hornets destroyed by a man who stood over the nest and, as each hornet came out, knocked it down and killed it by a blow from a little wooden bat. So we can beat down any undesirable thought of worry or failure or resentment, etc., so that it ceases to live and poison us or others. But still this is negative. It is not positive and constructive. To keep happy, we must fill the glass, drop by drop, with the sparkling and fresh water of happiness, and then the dirty water will automatically trickle away, and who knows, somehow become a kind of mental manure and fertilizer. Self-suggestion is a great help, if we would keep happy. We can tell ourselves to keep happy, in the same way as Peter Latham, at a hard and critical point in one of his professional championship matches, kept not only happy but also plucky by telling himself to buck up, as this was the chance to bring out his best game. Self-suggestion has many forms and varieties. Henry Wood, in his Ideal Suggestion Through Mental Photography, advises us to write down inspiring self-suggestions, and to look at them often. Leland, in his Have You a Strong Will, advises us to determine, the last thing at night, that the next day we will, for example, work calmly and easily and successfully. I myself find that now one form of self-suggestion is most effective, now another. It may be imagination or realization or assertion, or it may be a quiet order to the servant mind or manager mind, or it may be a strongly felt and repeated desire, or it may be nearer to silence and receptivity, together with the attitude of expectancy. Self-suggestion is feasible at all times and in all places. It is unobtrusive. It is without money and without price. It is effective. It tends to become a subconscious habit, and, as it were, to do itself without our attention. To keep happy, we can use happy words. Words have vast and little appreciated power. Think how useless we should be as regards our power of controlling ourselves and helping others, if we had no words. It would be easy to write a long book on this aspect of the art of happiness, alone. But I must be content with just one idea. We should speak with a cheerful voice and tone, as well as with a cheerful face, and we should prefer, to such words of ill omen as miserable and cruel, words that end rightly, such as unhappy and unkind words that leave us with the right and happy notion. Conversely, however, when we are or think that we are absolutely obliged to mention some unpleasant episode, in order to get others to help to put it right, we must not use such vivid expressions, we must not speak whiningly nor even keenly. This is preeminently the occasion for such a monotonous and expressionless voice, as is unusually put on by a secretary when reading the minutes of any previous meeting. Can we not speak of pleasant things with the excitedness of the French, if indeed we wish to be excited at all, but speak of unpleasant things, if we feel we must speak of them, with the apathy of the Hindu? When you have finished any self-suggestion, be sure to keep happy. To keep happy, we must use repetitions of self-suggestions and of happy words, and we must use them long before we seem to need them. In place of the old adage, in time of peace prepare for war, one can substitute, in time of peace prepare for victory, and then there will be no real war. Persistent repetitions. The persistent repetitions may be in the form of sheer repetitions, or in the form of synonyms such as happiness, gladness, enjoyment, joy, welcome, or in the form of cognate words, words that suggest not so much happiness itself, as the father and mother, the brothers and sisters, the sons and daughters, of happiness. Thus, to take the letter P alone, it has a decided effect upon our feelings of happiness to repeat, with as much attention to and realization of the idea and the inner spirit and soul of each word, as possible, the words purity, poise, peace, plenty, power, pluck, pleasantness. As to the influence of repetition, we must remember that we are mainly what our subconscious mind is, and our subconscious mind is largely what our conscious mind has chosen or allowed itself to think, and what our conscious mind every moment every now is choosing or allowing itself to think. Or, instead of repeating the ideas themselves or the words that can convey them, we can keep happy by reason and argumentation. While an assertion like Robert Browning's, "God's in his heaven, all's right with the world," will help some, a recalling of the advantages of happiness or of the disadvantages of non-happiness, and a working out of the ways in which the past failures of ourselves and others turned into blessings, will help others. I remember how disappointed I was when I did not get a fellowship at Cambridge. I am now very glad that I did not. What seemed a calamity led to my present work, which enables me to keep happy. As a fossilis don I should not have kept happy. Appreciation and welcome. We should go far towards keeping happy, also, if we practiced appreciation. We breathe fresh air, drink pure water, see glorious scenery or architecture and so forth, without a tithe of the proper enjoyment which would come from the proper valuation, for instance, of the water as refreshing us, satisfying us, helping our assimilation of nourishing food, helping our elimination of toxic waste matter, and symbolizing much besides. It is far better to approach any persons or things or circumstances that are ours. They would not come to us, or we to them, unless they were ours, in the spirit of welcome, and in the true and sporting play spirit, than in the spirit of discontent. So keep happy by appreciation. Laugh. Some people have a genius for seeing the funny side of so-called misfortunes, like the Chinaman who could not control his laughter, just before his execution, because they were going to hang the wrong man. In a little booklet called 50 Years Not Old, I wrote, laughing is a capital relief for unpleasant mental states, as well as fine exercise for the stomach and liver. Democritus, the laughing and smiling philosopher, may have carried his excellent principle to excess, but he was a safer guide than the weeping and moaning philosopher. It is worthwhile to collect cartoons and cuttings from the Daily Mirror, Punch, and other papers, and to look through them when the dumps try to dominate. Laughing and smiling can come under muscular control, no less than walking and sitting, no less than frowning and grumbling. We can tense or relax muscles. We can equally easily laugh or smile. And the mere muscular action will help the mind and the feelings to be free from non-happiness. There are, of course, wrong kinds of laughter and smiling. I read a book devoted almost entirely to the abuse of laughter and smiling. but the right kinds are as valuable as they are rare. Several people that I know have the supreme art of making troubles almost blessings by catching at once the ludicrous aspect going round to the other side and seeing things from a different approach. And sometimes, entering into the trouble by the gate of humor, they find that the trouble is not a torture chamber but a factory of success and happiness. The right laugh and smile is an expression of real faith, and, as we have seen, the expression, if persevered in, tends to bring the reality. The power of imagination and keep happy by imagination. How exhilarating it is to imagine oneself succeeding in one's favorite game, or in one's business or art or hobby. Such imagination is far better than the memory of defeats, except in so far as the latter helps us to correct our faults. The power of expression. Then there is the art of expression, advocated by Descartes and William James. The latter, in his talks on psychology, may not be strictly accurate and scientific, but at any rate he is practically useful, when he says, if we only check a cowardly impulse in time, for example, or if we only don't strike the blow or rip out with the complaining or insulting word that we shall regret as long as we live, our feelings themselves will presently be the calmer and better, with no particular guidance from us on their own account. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together, and by regulating the action, which is under the more direct control of the will, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not. Thus the sovereign voluntary path to cheerfulness, if our spontaneous cheerfulness be lost, is to sit up cheerfully, to look round cheerfully, and to act and speak as if cheerfulness were already there. If such conduct does not make you soon feel cheerful, nothing else on that occasion can. So, to feel brave, act as if we were brave, use all our will to that end, and a courage fit will very likely replace the fit of fear. Again, in order to feel kindly toward a person to whom we have been inimical, the only way is more or less deliberately to smile, to make sympathetic inquiries, and to force ourselves to say genial things. One hearty laugh together will bring enemies into a closer communion of heart than hours spent on both sides in inward wrestling with the mental demon of uncharitable feeling. To wrestle with a bad feeling only pins our attention on it, and keeps it still fastened in the mind, whereas, if we act as if from some better feeling, the old bad feeling soon folds its tent like an Arab, and silently steals away. An equally good quotation, from Luther Gulick's Mind and Work, will be found on pages 26 to 27 of Economy of Energy. He says, assume the bodily positions and movements and manners and tones of voice that belong to the emotional state you desire. Now the expression as the smile that is the expression of happiness may not be the cause of happiness, but at least it is the usual accompaniment, if not the essential accompaniment, of ordinary happiness. The eyes are among the most obvious means of expression, as is illustrated in the well-known lines smile, once in a while, 'twill make your heart seem lighter, smile, once in a while, 'twill make your pathway brighter. Life's a mirror, if we smile, smiles come back to greet us, if we're frowning all the while, frowns forever meet us. The whole face is a part of our expression, not only the eyes, but also the mouth, and the lines, which are largely under the ultimate control of the will, through the control of the muscles. And there is the whole attitude of the body, the upholding of the chest and the head, the correct curve of the spine, so as to bring the position of mechanical advantage and physical and nervous economy, the deepness and fullness and rhythm of the breathing, the laugh, the song, sung aloud or sung silently, and the tone and the tune and the timbre of the voice. Uses of odd moments. What we seldom realize is that, no less than we can move our biceps, we can move our muscles that regulate our expression. If people can spend 15 minutes daily over a dull and often almost useless, if not actually stiffening and harmful grinding series of spring grip dumbbell exercises, why will they not spend a few moments at some one time daily, or many, otherwise wasted or misused, moments at frequent intervals throughout the day, in exercising the muscles that regulate their expression, in lifting up their heart, and chest and head, and in laughing or smiling, so as to keep happy? Besides the expression, as an easy avenue to happiness, there is another rather less easy avenue in the improvement of the state of the health in general, and the state of the blood in particular, through more sensible foods and feeding, drinks, water treatments, and exercises, especially breathing. Various avenues to better health. Some principles and details will be found in various books. There is no space here for more than a few suggestions. Better foods and drinks. Years ago, the late Dr. Forbes Ross told me that, when he was medical superintendent of a certain asylum, he found that the patients were very violent on Thursday afternoons. On Thursdays, at the midday meal, they had beef extract. He forbade this, and at once the Thursday afternoon violence ceased. In my own case, the depression of years ceased when I gave up flesh foods and meat extracts more than 23 years ago. This does not mean that such foods are a cause of non-happiness in all cases. Still less does it mean that they are the sole cause, or even the main cause, in all cases. Many haphazard vegetarians have been miserable. It rather means that some better diet may be an important factor in happiness. The general idea of diet, for producing or increasing mental and physical well-being, which includes happiness, would surely be to get first such a regime as shall clear out the clogging and depressing or irritating toxins and waste matters, and shall not add to them, but shall rebuild a clean and healthy body and mind by a better balance of the various food elements. The drinks, in order to increase the well-being and the subsequent happiness, should be cleansing, and should include the minimum of undesirable elements, whether overstimulating, or narcotic. There is no need here to explain how food and drink affect the mind. We all know some of the depressing effects of liver, indigestion, constipation, etc., and the partial dependence of these troubles on the food and drinks. But few who have not studied the subject as I have been enabled to do, thanks partly to my work with the leading clinical analytical expert, Mr. C. H. Collins, could guess how some of the most common and respectable errors of food and drink, such as excess of starchy and sugary stuff, of fruit, of tea, or coffee or cocoa, and so on, can produce non-health and consequent non-happiness, partly by affecting the brain and the solar plexus through tissue storage of toxins and toxemia, or an acid and poisoned bloodstream. There are thousands who imagine that, because most of their civilized acquaintances regularly take certain meals as a matter of course, therefore these meals must of necessity be all right, not knowing that nature does not withhold from us her results according to law, often called her punishments, merely because large numbers of other individuals are making similar mistakes. To be orthodox in life is not the same thing as to be immune from the effects of orthodox mistakes. I could show letter after letter that tells how, beside better foods and drinks, simple water treatments and various exercises have tended to health and happiness. There are exercises, like those in Economy of Energy, pages 79, 83, 86, 87, 90, 94, 97, which help improve the position of the body, the fullness and the rhythm of the breathing, the economy of the muscles, by relaxing and so forth. There are stretching exercises, foot exercises, trunk exercises, athletic exercises, and so on. But one or two items must suffice here, as mere examples of how attention to physical acts may influence the state of the mind. Better position, better breathing, less muscular tension. 1. When the heart and lungs and stomach are sunk and sagged down, there is a tendency to mental as well as to physical depression. The right exercises, quite simple and easy, will draw the organs up into their normal place again, and thus will help to remove the dumps and bring happiness. 2. Happiness has its own type of breathing, as shown by the pneumograph and the registering cylinder drum, quite different from the type when there is fear or anger. If we establish as a habit the deepness and fullness and rhythm of the breathing that goes with happiness, we are halfway towards removing non-happiness and getting happiness itself. 3. When there is anger or restless worry, there is, regularly, some muscular tension. Do away with this, and relax the muscles. The art can be taught and learned, and the tendency is for the unsatisfactory feelings themselves to disappear. A warning about stimulants with reaction. But, in physical cures, we often have to distinguish carefully between the temporary effects and the ultimate effects. Too often there is recommended some way which produces almost immediate exhilaration or at least freedom from the sensation of worry or depression by driving toxins etc., which had been in the blood and had thus tended towards depression, etc., not out of the body altogether, but only out of the blood and into the tissues, where, as Mr. Collings has been able to prove, they remain stored to work mischief in the body and blood and mind in the future. The passing sensations of ease, if not of positive satisfaction, may be brought by such means as a cup of tea or coffee, some aspirin, a smoke, a cold bath, and so on. But this is not an avenue to happiness. It is, rather, a patch that crosses the avenue to happiness at one point, and then leaves it again. We want the habit of happiness. What we want is not the flash of happiness at heavy expense of future well-being and happiness, but the habit of happiness. We want to keep happy. We want to sacrifice, if need be, the immediate present for the lasting future. As the author of The Way of the Servant says, I do ask renunciation of my children, renunciation of the less. It is not every avenue to happiness that is unpleasant at the start. But it is quite likely that certain treatments, especially abstinence from or moderation in various stimulants and narcotics, may be, for a time, far from producing any happiness. When you are happy, be really happy. It is well known, see Allison's History of Europe, that those who have lived for many years in hot climates are so saturated with warmth that they keep warm for some time after they have come into a cooler climate like ours. Somewhat similarly, whenever we are happy, if we let our whole self, every cell and atom within our body from tip to toe, become saturated with happiness whenever we feel happy, we should be able to carry on the habit when the conditions seem less satisfactory. We should still feel the glow. But we simply must be and feel happy with all our mind and with all our soul and with all our strength, at the happy times. Without feverish excitement, we should thrill throughout with happiness, and be happy all over, as someone was said to smile all over. It is a good phrase. For why not let all the cells and fibers enjoy themselves with us? Why keep the happiness as if we were autocratic and despotic monarchs, instead of representatives of a democratic community to ourselves? Why not let the cells all rejoice with us that rejoice? They will repay us 100-fold in times of trouble and trial. They will then thrust back happiness to us, as the roots of a plant thrust up stems and leaves and flowers in return for the warmth and light and air and moisture and chemicals that they have absorbed. If, as Virchow and many others hold, cells have some individuality and some intelligence, will they not respond to our happiness, at least as much as you and I respond to the happiness of our nation and empire when there is good news and success of the whole of which we form a particle? To enjoy an environment, or the memory of it, is a pleasant avenue. If, instead of rushing through our sweet holidays and hours of peace and pleasantness, we pause on every charm, and concentrate our attention on the pleasantness, we can make the environment, on which so many people depend for their health and happiness, our own possession, within our minds, by means of picture memories, or sound memories, or even word memories. Here is one, from JBD: But who the melodies of morn can tell? The wild brook babbling down the mountainside, the lowing herd, the sheepfold's simple bell, the pipe of early shepherd dim descried in the low valley, echoing far and wide the clamorous horn along the cliffs above, the hollow murmur of the ocean tide, the hum of bees, the linnet's lay of love, and the full choir that wakes the universal grove. After all, what is our real environment? Most people would say, at once the air, the building, the scenery, in which, and the people and paraphernalia among which, we happen to be at any time. And these are indeed part of our environment. But our true environment is, first of all, the contents of our mind, and especially that part of the contents, whether memories or imaginations, to which we give most attention and interest. Secondly, the divine influence in which, whether we recognize it or not, we live and move and have our being. And, chiefly, we live in whatever we think of or allow ourselves not to refuse as residence in our mind. I have said little, in these few pages, about what are ordinarily regarded as environmental helps. I rather wish to emphasize the importance of keeping happy, and of using such means as we had always or often with us. I could have written much about colors, music, books, friendship, and so on. But I had to leave unwritten far more than I have written here. If these ideas help the reader to keep happy more consistently, less spasmodically, and more independently of outside conditions, they will have served their purpose. Perhaps even the mere titles of some books may be of use towards this end. All's right with the world, just be glad, and keep happy. To keep happy means enjoyment and ease, peace and poise, health and fitness, during work times and non-work times. It means more work and better work, it means better opportunities and openings for our activities in the future, it means better rest and sleep after work, it means constant, all-round improvement for oneself and others. It is, like health, part of our duty towards God, our neighbor, and ourself, and the myriads of cell lives working within us. A concluding suggestion: it is not a bad plan to make a point of writing down every day, in a notebook, or on slips of paper, some special reason why we should keep happy. Mr. Arthur Knight and I have done this regularly for many months, and have exchanged our records from time to time. The following are a few out of many of our reasons. They are not arranged in any particular order, but are put down just as we wrote them, from day to day. We recommend every reader to try the practice. Keep happy. When happiness is present, the petty things of life fail to disturb and poison us. Keep happy. This means living in the higher part of the mind, where the air and light and warmth are greater, and where all good things originate. Keep your thoughts in this happy region of yourself, and you will not only get the right ideas, the ideas that you really need, but you will draw other minds up to the same level. Keep happy. The more you insist on and persist in keeping happy, the more you will realize and be convinced how absolutely and progressively beneficial happiness is. Keep happy, and the things that would, in the ordinary way, loom large and important, and upset our peace and poise, either fade into nothingness or else become obviously useful as training us to play the game of life. If we would be at our best, in body, mind, and spirit, we must keep happy. Gloom and sorrow lessen our power to be our best and to do our best. Keep happy. There is nothing to be said against it. There is everything to be said in favor of it. Keep happy. Happiness is as much a duty towards God, our neighbors, and ourselves, as is purity or kindness or any other virtue, and happiness makes every other virtue easier and pleasanter. However good a physical or mental system you may follow, and however many excellent rules you may obey as to diet or exercise, and so on, the rule keep happy is found to be a good addition to your daily regime. Keep happy. The happy spirit is a magnet, and draws all that is most pleasant and profitable from all sources to seek you and to become yours. Keep happy when you are inclined to be ill-tempered or depressed or anxious. Then your sight and your perspective will change, and you will see the good in everyone and everything. Keep happy, and give out happiness. When we give out happiness, we always receive more blessings than we give to others. Keep happy. Difficulties and troubles enlarge through unhappiness, which is their fertilizing manure. Keep happy. To keep happy is good and godlike. Keep happy. Whoever is happy, longs and tends to make all others happier and happier. Keep happy. To keep happy is true heroism, no less so than any spasmodic act of courage. Keep happy. Then every good quality within you will grow and flourish and multiply and radiate. The end footnotes. A. Economy of energy. B. For instance, economy of energy, how to begin a change of diet, first recipes, health without meat, the EM system of physical culture. C. The uric acid fetish, how food poisons us. D. Curative exercises. E. Curative exercises, p. 46. F. The uric acid fetish and how food poisons us. Transcriber's note: spelling has been retained as published. Inconsistencies in hyphenation have been standardized. The following printer errors have been changed. Changed from to page 33, whatsoever things are, page 45, or if the disadvantages or of the disadvantages. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook. Keep happy. Updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the general terms of use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose, such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start, full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works. By using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg, you agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f.1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2. Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3. Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4. Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5. Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a non-profit 501 c. 3. Educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The Foundation's IN or Federal Tax Identification Number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 84116801596-1887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. Keep happy. Forward. Keep happy. Footnotes. Transcribers note: the full Project Gutenberg license PG5, PG6, PG7, PG8, PG9, PG10, PG11, PG12, PG13, PG14, PG15, PG16, PG17, PG18, PG19, PG20, PG21, PG22, PG23, PG24, PG25, PG26, PG27, PG28, PG29, PG30, PG PG31 PG32 PG33 PG34 PG35 PG36 PG37 PG38 PG39 PG40 PG41 PG42 PG43 PG44 PG45 PG46 PG47 PG48 PG49 PG50 PG51 PG52 PG53 PG 54 PG 55 PG 56 PG 57 PG 58 PG 59 PG 60 PG 61 PG 62 PG 63 PG 64 PG 65 PG 66 PG 67 PG 68 PG 69 PG 70 PG 71 PG 72 PG 73